welcome to Jewish Friend. This is James speaking. I'm joined today by a repeat guest. I don't get many of them on the J Show. Who are you, Justin?
I'm Justin Snowball.
Justin, last time, it's probably been about 2 years maybe.
Close. Yeah, I think we sat down I don't know, maybe January, February in 2014? Or even, no, it should have been after. Yeah, 2015, yeah, exactly.
Where have you been?
I've been, I went to South America for a couple of months and checked out Bolivia and Peru and Brazil and Argentina. And then I went to Los Angeles and I've kind of been there the whole time. Yeah, exploring my box of chocolates. That's LA. Lots of things that I like doing. It's kind of just it feels a bit like a kid in a candy store in a way.
So how long have you been there?
Well, it'll be 2 years in March because I got there in March by the time I did South America.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you get back?
I just got back I don't know, less than 2 weeks ago.
Just for Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah, went to Sydney for a few days, saw my niece and nephew, and I came back here and went to a wedding down south in Dunsborough, and yeah, and now I've been in Perth for I don't know, 6 days, probably more.
What have you been doing?
I've been mucking around in that music video that I'm directing and producing and editing. I need to get your feedback on it properly because you mentioned something when I showed you that rough cut about distorted space, and that intrigued me. I didn't think I distorted space, but maybe I did. And also I have a script for it, and I haven't shot it all yet, so maybe you can help script doctor it a bit.
Oh, right. I thought you'd been shot and you were just editing it, and then...
I shot most of it.
It seems to be special effects heavy, so it's going to take a while.
It is. Yeah, but there is still bits that need to be shot, and there might even be a reshoot or two.
Justin was an actor in one of my short films, but he's also a musician, just for context. What's your process like? Are you recording an album and then you're making videos, or do you make a song and then make a video?
I recorded a bunch of songs. It's pretty much an album already. And then I just got interested in music video directing because way back I did a degree in art directing, and then I started doing the music. I did a little bit of acting before I started doing the music, and then I stopped that and then just fully went into music. And then the last few years, kind of around the time I did your thing, I started taking acting a bit more seriously again. I thought I could do both. And then the music videos just kind of made sense because I'd had mixed experiences with doing music videos. I was with a label in Sydney called Ivy League, and at one point we had they gave me a decent budget for a few videos, but I was never really into them. One of them I really detested, and I felt kind of scammed that some guy had come in and called himself a director and taken quite a chunk of money from me and made a piece of something I didn't like, and I asked them to take it off YouTube in the end. So it was just quite a big check down in the trash, really. Another contributing factor that made me start trying to do music videos is because I was doing some record covers for myself and single covers for other bands and record CDs and stuff. And then one of the bands said to me, "Would you be interested in directing?" I think they'd heard me complaining about the other music videos that I'd been involved with. And they said, "Do you want to direct one?" And they gave me okay budget, and yeah, I directed one. And that's, I suppose, having a visual background as well as music, it seems to be a pretty good mix because it's not just about visual storytelling. It is a bit about interpreting the music and giving it a visual interpretation of how the music flows and the beats and stuff. So I think editing's kind of innate. I kind of think I'm okay at it, but that's for other people to decide. But yeah. So how did I decide to start making music videos? Yeah, I just kind of thought, why not? It's like a whole extension of it, and it's kind of a weird place to be a musician these days. So you don't really know how you can break through all the multitudes of releases every day. Yeah, doing music videos and see how they work out, and if people like them, maybe I'll do some for other people as well.
So were you thinking about the music video before writing the song, or while you were writing it?
No. I think like music videos aren't what they were at one point. Like I've heard stories of 10 years ago or in the 90s or whatever, people were getting $500,000 for music videos, but I think even labels don't have much money for music videos anymore because they never sold music videos. They were always a promo pack, so they were always just something that was a lot of work and effort and money that was never actually a product you could sell. It was there to sell the music, so people would see the video, be exposed to music, and then buy the music. But so I think now that people don't buy music as much, I think it's even more pressure on record labels to find that money to make a music video. So there's a lot of constraints. And so, yeah, for me, I just try and, in a perfect world, if you gave me a big check, I would do a music video that really represented the song somehow, as well as being a creative, catchy idea. But now I'm just like trying to do whatever I think can be somewhat unique. And if there's a little bit of a gap between the song and the visual, then it's just one of those things that you have to get through, I guess. It's like, I wouldn't want it to be too big a gap or the visual to put you off the song. But you know what it's like when you're trying to, like, you as a filmmaker, I've heard we've talked about, like, in a perfect world, you'd have a producer for your films, but you don't necessarily always have one because, you got to get the runs on the board before people start wanting to throw you your ultimate scenario where we get the right budget and the right personnel. So just trying to create some cool things and then see if more people can jump on board, and then you can start doing things that are not compromised at all, or just tick every box in terms of the creative vision.
So what, are you hoping people will see your video and go share it and go, oh, look at this weird video?
Yeah.
And what, they'll want your music more, or they'll want you to make more videos?
Both or either.
All right.
Yeah.
Just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Seeing what sticks.
Yeah, does that sound silly?
No. That's probably what you have to do these days.
Yeah, that's the thing that's interesting, isn't it? What you just said quietly at the end of that sentence. These days, it's like, you have to do. It seems like, I don't know the answers, but it feels like you do have to do a lot of things these days because no one really knows what. Like, you might talk to somebody from a generation before, and they'll say, "Well, what do you want to do? You want to make movies? Then be a director, or you want to make music? Be a musician." But it's like the people who say that, they don't realize necessarily that it's just shifting so much. It's probably been said a billion times, but like, are movies even going to be movies in what they were? And they used to be this thing you go and watch for an hour and a half in a cinema, but now it's like half of them are sort of in cinemas, and the other half's maybe turning into an 8-part series on TV or a direct to Netflix one-off, and like people who tell you to try and pursue one thing, they probably don't realize that there's 16-year-old kids on YouTube getting $1 million just to make 2-minute videos or whatever. Like, what is it now? What are creators? I don't know.
I don't know. It's the funny thing is about. I don't know. Do you know Casey Neistat?
Yeah, I do. I watch his videos sometimes. I don't really. I really wanted to like them more than I do.
Yeah, I've seen like bits and pieces. I've never the only time I've ever actually watched his videos is just like he was reviewing a drone that he probably got for free, so it's not even that much of a valid rule. But I watched that clip just because it came up when I searched for this particular drone. And anyway, apparently he had this big vlog that was super popular. Then he got a deal, a deal from CNN, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm stuff YouTube. Do you know what I mean?
So I saw that came up in my feed. I just sold my channel to CNN, and I didn't watch it. That's all I knew. So what does that mean? So do you know what he's going to do for CNN?
I don't know, but it sounds like he had complete freedom of his channel, and I assume as one of the top YouTubers, he's making an income.
Yeah.
A healthy reason, maybe just a middle class income though, not a mega income.
Yeah.
And he sold the channel for a lot of money, but now he's lost all that independence and that complete control, and I bet you it's going to end in tears.
So he sold the channel on YouTube, so it'll still stay there.
I don't know
with
what happens. I think he sold his company, which I think CNN actually just wanted people in his company, and because his channel was, he had tied that into his company somehow, probably for tax reasons, and then that ended up getting sold with it. I don't know. But he may be now, he can probably still put stuff up on his channel, but CNN will have approval over whatever.
Right.
You know?
It's very interesting, isn't it? Like, if it still stays in YouTube, and I guess it would because it probably has, I don't know, I'm guessing 20 million followers or whatever, because they wouldn't throw that sort of viewership away. That people are going to buy channels that are within this overall broadcast apparatus.
Mm. But anyway, if I had my own sort of channel format that actually made money and it was under my complete control, I would never want to give that up, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, I've seen so many like podcasts, because I mainly follow podcasts, I don't really follow YouTube, that their podcast takes off and then they get a TV show. And then as soon as they get the TV show, they're like, oh, well, yeah, we're busy, we can't put out as many episodes of our thing. And so they're like damaging the loyalty of the audience that actually made them popular enough to attract the eyes of whoever wanted to give them a TV show or whatever. And the TV show is always crap, without fail.
Can you just say one or two examples?
I used to watch this one called it's so long ago. It was these two comedians, Nikki and Sarah, Nikki Glazer and Sarah someone, and just happened to be there or something.
Right.
And then they got MTV picked them up to do like a chat show on their channel, and it like went for 2 seasons, but then it got cancelled. But in the meantime, they'd given up doing the podcast regularly, or if they came on the podcast, it's like, oh, I'm so tired and doing this. Like, you know, it just destroyed what was good, and then the podcast just collapsed after that.
Really, that is stupid. I think possibly with Casey, maybe it's tied into what YouTube's doing. I think with podcasts, you are completely autonomous in a way, but YouTube can control the algorithm within that apparatus. So.
Yeah. Well, video is hard because everyone complains about Google or YouTube not paying these people enough. But the reality is, if you were hosting your own video podcast with that many viewers, the cost you would have to pay to distribute that video would be 10 times more than what you would possibly earn.
Just because of the
bandwidth cost of sending out that much HD video.
Really?
Is insane.
Huh. Shit.
So basically YouTube takes like 60% of the income from the ads, but Google still makes a loss on YouTube because it's so expensive to run.
For real?
Yeah.
I did not know.
And
that.
everyone's complaining. I'm like, if you think you're that good to be making content and not need YouTube, go to Vimeo and put it up there. And
yeah.
Vimeo charges you for if you're a really popular show, they charge you per how many gigabytes of videos that you distribute, you know.
Huh.
And you don't see many people on that. Why? Because it's so expensive.
Right. And I guess that's
and you have to buy all your own ads and set up all your ads rather than Google just puts the ads on there for you.
Right.
So you have to pay someone to run your ad campaigns. And
wow, I'm so surprised they're not profitable yet. That's what that Tweety Pie guy, whatever his name is, Tootie, he's complaining a lot now, right? He's the biggest guy in the world, right, on YouTube. And he's saying all this stuff about closing it.
Well, they might be doing something dumb with that, because I think the problem is the recommended videos are becoming really low quality stuff.
They are becoming low quality?
Yeah, that's the biggest complaint, is that you get recommended this real spam stuff that's like, it's not.
Is that included the people who do have, like the Tweety Pies who have the 20 million followers? Like, because I feel like even with Casey, like he was making a video a day and I would watch them and they were shit. Like it was just him going to the hardware store to buy some nails.
Yeah.
And then there'd be some B-roll footage of the sun going down over the city. And it was the same thing with this
I don't know how people do it. I think it's all kids that have time to watch video. I don't have time to watch YouTube. You know, I follow a couple of YouTubers and it's like I watch a couple of minutes and that's it. I don't have time to watch it. Rather than podcasts, I can listen to it when I'm cleaning, when I'm exercising, when I'm working, driving. You know, I can get, even on a day when I am doing working on an activity where I can't listen to podcasts, like when I'm writing, I can still listen to 2 hours of podcasts just from doing the chores and doing my hourly exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
But I don't know how people sit down and watch all these YouTubers.
Well, I mean, yeah, I never really watched Tweety Pie, however you say it, but I had a feeling that it would probably be pretty inane.
Well, his audience is all 10 and under.
Right, making funny faces and wacky edits.
Yeah.
So if YouTube has decided, like, did you just, is that what you meant about low quality stuff, or is that the stuff that you're saying is coming up that's sponsored stuff?
It's just like, kind of like, it's the equivalent of like going to a website and all the ads for dick pills. Right.
Okay, so they're sponsored. They're not stuff that you actually subscribe to or watch in the past.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Some of that's in there.
Yeah.
But I think what they're complaining about is you're starting to get all these people who do pranks that are fake and... or, you know, we try and catch a cheater against his girlfriend.
And it's fake.
It's really lowbrow sort of content.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, that's good.
And that's saying a lot because a lot of what these people who do the complaining are producing some pretty lowbrow content themselves, you know. Like going to the hardware store, like you're saying.
Uh-huh. Oh, well. Yeah, I guess that's... Yeah. Someone probably welcome him with a new version of YouTube, I guess. And...
But who's going to do it? Because no one can afford it. Only maybe Microsoft could afford to do it, and they're not doing it.
Right. Huh.
Maybe Amazon would do it.
Right. Well, apparently they haven't made a profit in their history yet either.
Well, yeah, they're not designed to. If they do make a profit, they apologise for it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because it means they're not growing fast enough.
Oh, well, the mind boggles.
They're not spending enough money on investment.
But don't they have shareholders?
Yeah, but the shareholders just want you to grow.
Okay.
Infinite growth.
Cool.
I hate Amazon because they're not really in Australia, and all these websites are hosted on Amazon, and they just run really slowly in Perth.
Oh, yeah?
What's living in the US been like?
Amazon's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
US, did you get your own place, or
I just live with a few people, yeah.
House sharing?
Yeah.
You just went over there. Did you know any of these people?
No.
You just went on like Aussies in LA Facebook group and
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it's been cool. Like, what have I been doing? I put out a song and a video that I made for it, and it went pretty well on the radio. A little minor indie hit. And I've been acting in a bunch of stuff, like, yeah, all sorts of things. I ended up in a few music videos for other people, which is fun. And a movie and some short films and commercial and stuff. Made a little production company at one point with some people. I'm still doing things with some of those guys. Sort of working on a documentary idea that's kind of mine. Working out how to pitch that to people. And yeah, I just shot this video before I shot most of this, a bit more than half of that music video that I showed you the rough cut of before I left.
Who's filming that?
Oh,
this is your production company?
Yeah, well, we started this production company with a few of us, and we made a short. It was supposed to be a feature, but we just thought we'd wet our toes by making a short version of it first. The feature script's still out there somewhere, and that was written by the guy who sort of put the group together. and I kind of played the lead role in it. And there was a guy who came on board who was still getting his bearings as a DOP, and he's getting better. He just came back from a feature shoot, where he was the head cinematographer and they had 2 Alexa Pros on the shoot. So he's getting better as it come along. He's the one who shot the music video, making the music video with me. Yeah, and the other guy who wrote the script for the feature that sort of pulled us all together, he also had another feature that he'd written with somebody else, and they got to the stage where they were green lit for the feature, and I got to go to the table read at Paramount Studios and be part of that. And then for some reason it didn't. They realized they had the director attached, and everyone was in the room, and all these producers and these actors who seemed like the lead actors seemed like they'd done a table read before. Because when I got there, I was just playing a few of the smaller characters, reading a few of the smaller characters, and they looked like they really knew the script well. So it must have been. I really thought they had it going, and then he just told me, "Oh shit, we just got told that we need a bit more money," and so I don't know whether that got shut down, even though it was apparently officially green lit. But for me, that was just a good experience, an interesting experience to be at Paramount Studios in the Lucille Ball reading room or whatever it is, conference room. What else? Went to a few of the AFI gala parties just before I left. That was an interesting thing. Kind of worked out how to let myself into these events, and Emma Stone was sitting in the corner and Mark Wahlberg was wandering around somewhere. So one of the ones I went to was the La La Land premiere party after that.
Oh, that's pretty good. Did you get to see the movie?
I didn't go to the movie. I could have gone to the movie. They're all kind of free, actually, but they only have, obviously, with the higher profile ones, they have a lot of demand, and they probably, because the stars go and all the directors, and it's the actual premiere, the world premiere, the bigger ones don't have as many free tickets, but it's a cool festival. Just at the Chinese Theatre and the Dolby Theatre right there on Hollywood Boulevard. And the Egyptian Theatre, there's a cluster of cinemas there near Hollywood and Highland where they have the Oscars too. And then there's a Wahlberg one that I think the one about the Boston Marathon was also, that a couple of nights later I went back again. It was a bit of a laugh, free drinks and nibbles, and everyone was treating me as though I was somebody because I was in there, even though I'd let myself in. Yeah. It's pretty funny. But yeah.
Just by yourself?
The first night, I mean, I knew people who were in there officially, so they told me to come, and I didn't know how I was going to get in. And I scoped it out, and then I just worked out a way to just let myself in through a curtain or something. And then once I knew it was doable, I went back again. I had some friends who were officially there, and then I brought a couple of friends as well. And as soon as we got there, we split into 3, me and the 2 other guys. And I got in straight away, and I texted them both how I did it. And one of them followed my instructions and eventually got in as well. You have to wait for the right timing. It has to be a moment where security is lax. And then my other friend didn't get in. Mm-hmm. He gave up. He was wearing too many obvious bright clothing. You have to wear sort of dark stuff so you can disappear into the crowd immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of what I've been doing. Yeah, it's been fun. How about you? You just
didn't get caught up in any Hollywood murders, because that's every film about LA is you come to town and then this woman gets stabbed and you get implicated. And
really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know that story.
Oh, that's every movie, it seems.
Really, somebody fresh? Really?
Especially the Coen brothers and stuff like that. I've been watching some Brian De Palma stuff.
Is that what happens in Barton Fink?
Yeah.
All right. I haven't seen that for a long time. I can't remember it. I just got myself 8 episodes of the night of.
I was literally watching that before you came.
Really? I watched 1 episode on the plane over, and I decided I'd take them down south where I haven't got Wi-Fi, and I'll watch them there. But it's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting so far.
That's got a murder in it.
Yeah. Still seeing, but I think it's in New York.
Yeah.
And there's no fame or anything. It's just... some guy's best night ever turns into his worst night.
How many episodes are you in?
I think I just finished watching episode 6.
Okay. Is it
I only started yesterday.
right? That's why I'm so scared of watching TV series. Is they're so good that I can't not watch them all at once. So I step gently when it comes to entering a new series. I was going to watch it with my parents. Is it like the first episode has some gory stuff and some sex stuff? Does that taper off or does it keep flashing back? I don't like watching that stuff with my parents if it's too... My dad would just say,
No,
this is
it's
not
pretty
very
tame.
good. Yeah?
Yeah, there's this weird scene where they present evidence on top of a black man's dead body with his giant dead wang in the middle.
They just have the wang in there for no reason?
Yeah. You'll see it and you go...
I don't want to watch that. Not with my parents.
It's a bit weird because they're questioning the guy who does the autopsies. He's like, can you have a look at... And they're like, can you have a look at this photo? And it's like, yeah, sure, just put it there. And she's like, what? There? And she puts it right next to the dead guy's giant penis. And
Jesus.
It's not that big because it's a bit shriveled up and everything. But
I don't think I'm going to watch it now. I mean, I'll watch it, but not with my parents.
But that was just the one moment.
I know.
The rest of the series...
That's a bit much for me.
The rest of it's very tame for HBO.
Why did they throw that in?
I don't know. They felt like everyone... Just because it is quite tame for HBO, so they thought like, oh yeah, we'll have a dead guy's penis in it.
No one wants to see a dead guy's penis. And do they just put the photograph on the body of the guy as though it's a bench
on his thighs, right next to his penis?
So there's no desks in the office or anything.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, he just couldn't.
Oh, we're a bit short on space. Put it right next to that dead guy's wang. Yeah, right. And so your thing you shot recently, did you talk about that on air, or is it still in development?
Really. It's just a little exercise.
Oh, yeah.
I have to do something. Try and do something once a year to make sure I don't forget how to direct.
Yeah, right.
Not that you really direct ever well if you're producing yourself.
Right. And were you also the DP?
Yeah.
Right.
I had a sound guy. That was it.
Okay.
Did everything else.
That's
and it was
cool.
like a moment-to-moment thing because like I never knew if it would actually get finished. It was just like... It's like, okay, I've got this night where I've got some equipment and I'm going to shoot this one thing, and then if that gets done, I'll shoot this other scene on that night if I can get people together, and then sort of did it over 3 nights.
Oh, were you hiring the equipment?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I just hired stuff for the thing I shot recently. Bit pricey, but hey. And what about the play last night? Was that something you set some friends in or something?
Yeah, Tanya, who's on the other podcast, she's doing a musical theatre course as a graduation show.
Okay.
It was lots of musical theatre numbers.
Oh. Wow.
I can't say I'm a huge fan. They did Les Mis and that was like really good, but I think Les Mis is like the only good musical maybe ever.
Right.
That
maybe.
jazz in terms of music quality.
Yeah, on that. Yeah. I listened to a bit of your podcast when you were selecting the person to be on air with you. And did you end up just having one, or do you use more than one of them?
Actually, the person that got the most votes came on for a few episodes and decided they didn't like it. So the person who got the second amount of votes came on.
Oh, okay.
Although it was literally only one vote between them.
Oh, really?
Because only like 20 people voted.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And what else has been happening at the Screen West and the AFI, or whatever it's called? Is there, because I know that you're a big proponent of trying to make stuff within Western Australia, and how's that brewing along? Is it still a challenge, or is it getting its act together?
It seems to be going okay. I went to Melbourne. It was funny. I got paid by Screen West to go to Melbourne to meet like producers from over east, and now all it it was just a waste of time because they were all wanting ways to come and film over here.
Really? Why? Because there's good government
Yeah, there's more funding, I think,
benefits
for films.
and tax and stuff.
There's more TV over there, but there's way more films in WA.
Well, why is it a waste of time? Aren't you always looking for an enthusiastic producer?
Because you have to get WA funding, you have to have a West Australian producer attached.
Oh, Christ.
So there's no point getting one of them because then you wouldn't be able to get the WA money.
Yeah. Okay, so they're all asking you how to do it, and you're like...
Well, what they're hoping is if I already got a WA producer,
Yeah.
then they can come aboard as a co-producer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Huh.
It was very weird because I thought it was just, it happened in one and I was like, oh, okay. But then it started happening more and more meetings. They were all asking straight away, do you have a WA producer attached so that we get WA money?
Okay. Well, that's cool. Couldn't you then get one of these enthusiastic people to do all the real work and then just install a figurehead producer from WA? Or do they have to have a long resume? Or just get some resume producer?
There was only one who I'm trying to follow up with who actually seemed like the real deal. The other people were junior producers and they would have to move to WA if they wanted to do it.
And they just were looking for an easy ride.
Yeah. They were trying to use me to get an easy ride in, and I'm like, I'm not your person. 'Cause the reason I'm here is because I don't have.
So I want you to help me get the ride. That's pretty cool that Screamo sent you over there. So they are pretty.
It was just part of one of their programs. It wasn't like oh my god, you're so good, you've got to go over there.
No, it's pretty cool. So they are pretty proactive in trying to nurture people.
I don't know. They keep changing. I don't know what they're doing. It's not like I can prepare for something they're doing because they keep changing the stuff they're offering every year, which I guess is good in terms if they're doing it in response to feedback and trying to do things better. But I feel like they're just doing it for the sake of change, just for whoever's job is to make a new program. They have to keep that person employed. So
right. Huh.
And it's all super vague as well. I think they keep it intentionally vague so they can favour people who are in the club already.
Right. There was a film that one of my family friends actually ended up directing. I haven't spoken to them for years, but my parents know them well, called Hounds of Love.
Oh yeah, Ben Young.
Have you seen it?
No.
Did it get a really good response?
Didn't get a bad response. I don't know. I don't know. It went to something as part of the Venice Film Festival, which I think is kind of prestigious. But then the way they worded it sounded as if it's like off. There's off Broadway. This is off festival. But I don't know what I'm talking about. So
okay. And speaking of festivals, what about have you been? Do you write plays or anything like that?
No, I'm writing a radio play.
Oh, cool.
I've written. It's an old feature screenplay, which is really good, but it will never get made. But I think because I do the podcast, I've always fantasized about doing a radio play, and so I still kind of really like that story that I had. So I'm just kind of rewriting that into a radio play, which means just converting, adding a narrator, basically.
Yep. And how long would it be?
It'd be, I don't know. This is what I'm thinking because it's you don't have any restrictions because it's going to be a bit gimmerish production, and I'm going to release it on my own radio station. I can do whatever I want. So I'm thinking, it was like a 2-hour movie. I'm thinking of it being like, making it like a mini series, like on TV, like 6 episodes. I don't know how long each episode would be, but trying to split up into episodes.
That's pretty cool. That's great. Did you ever hear the Flight of the Conchords radio plays?
I think I've heard one. Yeah. Was that any good?
So basically, they were doing this. They were doing their touring act, and for whatever reason, they ended up getting a deal with the BBC to make the radio plays way before the TV show.
Yeah.
And it was just like early versions of the TV show. Like they had the same actors, same guy played the manager, and very similar storylines. But obviously, by the time it got to HBO and in America, the stories had developed and become a lot better. But it's interesting to see that was how the genesis of the idea had developed. Like, I don't even know if the radio plays were really that good, but they're basically just, I don't know how long it was between radio plays and TV shows. Yeah, they just would have been rewriting it and sharpening it, and I love that TV show, but the radio plays is average. But, it's definitely a cool way to develop something and have some proof of concept or whatever.
I'm also, because I did that script reading.
Yep.
With the actors, I recorded the audio of them. And I'm thinking of putting that out as a podcast. I'm not going to publicize it because it's not like a high quality recording, but I was thinking of putting some sound effects in and some music and just putting it as a podcast out. But I'm not going to publicize it because, some of the because I didn't get to choose the actors, some of the actors' performance aren't exactly it's not a cohesive thing.
Yeah.
But it's good enough. I just want to put it out there because it's like, what if I died tomorrow?
Yeah.
At least you've got one of your stories out there without having to get millions of dollars in funding to make it into a film.
Yeah. That is cool. And you never know. Someone might hear it and get really excited.
I doubt it. No one's going to sit down and listen to it.
That's possible. You never know. And another example of that whole long genesis of an idea from something that was only half good to something that was great. I only recently watched What We Do in the Shadows. Have you heard that one or seen that one?
Yeah, I did. Is that the vampires?
Yeah, I never knew about that until recently. I went to an audition for a TV pilot, and one of the references they gave me in the breakdown was What We Do in the Shadows, because I was trying to do something pretty similar, but instead of vampires, they were going to be ghosts.
Yeah.
So I watched it, and it was great. But then I watched the short version of it, which was made 8 years before, and it was exactly the same storyline, same actors, but just not as developed, and a bit less budget and much shorter. But basically all the same beats, same plot line, but not amazing. But it just goes to show you don't have to wait until everything's perfect. And by having it out there, they had some proof of concept, and then I guess they ended up getting some funding from some New Zealand film body.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm that. I always wanted to do stuff like that. I'm not sure I'm just that good at that. Like the short film I did last year. We got funding for it, but it was only for a 7-minute version. But we made a 15-minute version, which I haven't sort of released yet, and it's kind of like a pilot of a TV show without a B story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to send that out to some people.
And is the 7-minute version been finished?
Yeah.
Cool. Who did you say you got funding for that?
Yeah.
Who was that through?
Through FTI and Screen Australia.
Sweet. That's pretty cool. Slowly nudging. So you must have a bit of a folio together there, a bit of a reel.
Kind of. Doesn't really matter to me. I don't like short films, so it doesn't matter.
Would you ever do
It's literally, I just need to do I've got to do a drama, just to say I can do it. Because all the things like the meet cute and that, it's kind of like a romantic comedy. It's not really a drama.
Why do you need to be able to say you've done a drama?
Because that's what I want to. The things I'm writing are sort of more drama than comedy.
Okay. Is that because?
And then I tried to apply for this directing scholarship at Screamers this year, and they're like, the cool thing about what they're doing is, I guess now that I'm sort of have half a foot in, when I didn't get the scholarship, they actually invited me in to talk about why I didn't get it.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, well, you've submitted a drama script that you want to direct, but you've never, you don't have a
short drama.
Yeah. To show that you can actually direct something.
Huh. I think that's, for me personally, with shorts, dramatic shorts doesn't work. I just don't invest enough to care seriously about something?
I don't think anyone cares. But it's just about the actual... You're competing against other people who have done it. That's the problem.
But is that the reason that most of your shorts have turned out to have a slightly comedic edge or whatever? Because you can actually care when someone gives you a laugh?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Right. So they're encouraging you to make a dramatic short, but no one likes dramatic shorts.
Yeah, but they're not... They're just... Shorts are worthless. The only point of them is to show your skills, you know? They're like a...
Yeah, but they're not... if something makes me laugh, I care and I appreciate it.
Yeah, but also like the Meet Cute is not a traditional film. It's a guy talking to camera and stuff's happening in the background. It's not a two-hander with two people. You're not... It's like you're cheating.
Oh, well, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, how does that translate to a traditional film?
It's shown that you've worked within the constraints. Like, you've made something that, personally, to me, was engaging.
Mm-hmm. But if they're only picking one or two people and 500 people have applied, and you've got something that doesn't fit what... you don't have a complete package.
But personally, if I see, a dramatic thing that ticks all the boxes of being... what you're saying, a two-hander and B-plot, etc. But I don't give a shit. Like, I'd rather see somebody who ignored those tick boxes and made something that somehow I cared about. Like, isn't that the whole point of making stuff, is it goes against tick boxes, and it is just something it's...
Right, but these are people, public service workers, who have to decide
right
who to vote for.
Oh, well, that's maybe a bit silly.
This is not...
Like, you don't think... Like, one cool thing about Marvel, for example, right, and they're doing pretty well with their superheroes franchise, whether you're sick of seeing that or not. Like, they just gave that guy who made What We Do in the Shadows... What's his name again? Whatever. He makes weird films out of New Zealand, usually. Yeah. He's now doing the new Thor. And it seems like... That's a pretty cool decision. He's never made a superhero, but they're giving him a very big franchise worth a lot of money.
Yeah, but didn't Kenneth Branagh got to do the first four, and it's just a waste of his time and effort. Why isn't he out doing awesome stuff that he used to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, was that first Thor good?
It's just the most boring movie ever.
Right. I assumed it was pretty boring.
And then they gave him Cinderella at Disney, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I'm excited to see Kenneth Branagh do Cinderella, and you go along and it's like the most stock standard film I've ever seen. Like,
it's Cinderella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't speak for Kenneth Branagh because I have no idea why he'd ever get a job as a director. Like, has he ever done anything good besides some Shakespeare?
We did those epic Hamlet Shakespeare films, yeah. Okay. Like Henry V and Hamlet.
But isn't that just...
were just epic cinema. Some of the most epic.
Are they good?
Yeah. Well,
or is it just following how you would direct the play? Like, isn't it just beat for beat? There's a castle, we show a castle.
I don't know. Hamlet is amazing. It's like this huge film. It's shot in like 70mm. It's like one of the most epic movies of our time. Like,
really, and
it's sort of really interesting. Take a combination of theatre and film.
Oh yeah.
Because it's set, a lot of it's set on built on a sound stage, but that allows him to have complete control of composition and almost like he's doing theatre in the round, but without an audience.
See, that sounds like he's doing something that's outside the box, which is kind of cool. Because while I was saying, you know, it's silly if people are worrying about funding because people can tick boxes. It should be more about...
Yeah, but he hasn't done anything since, so it probably was a failure at the box office. And then
what, Hamlet or Thor?
Hamlet. I'm sure Thor was very successful because they made a second one since then, and they're obviously making a third one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, oh yeah, I get it. So you're going to make a drama. How are you going to make a drama that's interesting in 10 minutes?
I don't know. Just do it.
Seems like with shorts you have to have something that's a little bit...
Has to be edgy.
It has to have some sort of catch, which is usually something unexpected, which is kind of at least a bit funny on one level, or black.
No, it's just going to be edgy, man.
Right. Okay, so you need to have some minority issues and...
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got something bubbling away?
I've written something I want to do. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know how it's going to get made because I'm not going to do it by myself.
Yeah.
Just a waste of time. So what, you going back to America?
Yeah.
And what is that? Do you have to get another visa or something?
Yeah, no, I've got my new visa already. And yeah, I got an O1 artist visa, and I'm also sort of eligible for a green card too now. But there's also an artist green card which you can get, which is nice. Yeah. Hopefully it'll stay around with the new president. Maybe he's already made some comments on his website apparently about cutting down on Australian visas. All right, that's really...
I don't know why you would ever want to be there.
Really?
I just can't bear the thought of ever having to go to the US.
Really?
Yeah.
But Los Angeles, like, the thing I like about it is maybe you're better at finding people here in Perth that are on your wavelength, but I would sit around with people I've grown up with and...
Oh, I totally agree, but I'm a loner, so it doesn't really bother me. I totally agree that there's people in Perth are super unrelatable. Right. Even the people that I did get, they all eventually caved in and had kids. And then once you have kids, you're just like on a different dimension.
Yeah, I assume so. I mean...
You're on two different dimensions.
Yeah, probably.
They like look at you and go, your life is meaningless. And I look at them and go, well, are they just waiting for the grave to come? Watching the kids, which I understand is probably amazing.
But it's not new. It's not unique. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I just got so sick of like sitting around in a bar and people talking about their work in the mines and how much money they're going to spend on their new car or whatever. So far, the thing I like about LA is people have migrated there from all around the world and talk about the things that I like talking about, and they're interested in those things. And if you tell them you're a performer or a filmmaker or an actor or something, they'll be like, wow, that's, tell me about that. Not like the initial response here is like, okay, cool. So what do you do for money or whatever? Yeah. It gets tiresome. And having to explain why you'd be doing something, even though it's not making you any money for so many years. Yeah, so when are you going to stop doing that? Like, it doesn't have to make me money at all, or it doesn't have to make me money straight away. Like,
but I almost don't want to contribute to that. Like LA doesn't deserve. I don't think it deserves that.
Yeah, for better or worse, there's the apparatus for people to monetize creativity there.
Yeah, that's true.
But the question is then, if you're interested in filmmaking, like what's happening with film? Like, is it dying?
It is dying in terms of theatrical.
What does that mean?
It's as in you go to a cinema and see it.
Right.
I think, episodic is bigger than ever.
And
that's where all the creative stuff's happening.
Yeah. But does that annoy you a bit, like seeing an idea become so long? Do you like the idea? I mean, I'm sure the idea...
I've been going to movies and finding them frustrating. I feel like feature films are short films now. It's pretty rare that I see a feature film and I'm like satisfied at the end of it.
Yeah, because they're shit, but...
Because they just don't have any time to develop characters.
Really? But what about when they say the golden age of cinema, or I don't know, the 70s or something? Like, weren't there great films that did everything, satisfied you?
I've been going back and watching a lot of those films recently, and because when you go back in time and watch stuff from before you're born, you're watching it through a filter, because they brought out lots and lots of movies back then.
Yeah, and the shit hasn't survived.
And yeah, all the sort of the cream theoretically is at the top, and you're picking from that, and you don't even watch all of the cream unless you're like a real addict. And then I watch all those films, like the best films from like 1974 or something. And then even then, I only like maybe like one of them.
Yeah.
Which is the same as now. It's just that now, at least they were experimenting with stuff with big budgets. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of people who are going to die out, like Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And maybe, I guess you could say Tarantino, like the Coen brothers, of course, but they're going to die, and that stuff, that's just going to be dead. That whole... And there's always going to be like, you know, a cool new indie film, but it just feels like when I first started getting into film, it was like, oh, you got to check out this short film, they do this really crazy thing, and that's what sort of indie films are now. But they don't have any substance to them.
Yeah. But like in a day in a person's life, if they want to have some release, enjoyment, entertainment, maybe learn something, enrich their spirit or whatever, like the idea of it encapsulated in 2 hours or 1.5 hours, like I'm sure that was a constraint that was to do with film roll canisters or whatever, and it became 2 hours or 1.5 hours. But like, it's kind of a neat format to feel like you went through a journey, you related to a character, and maybe you learned something about yourself. But like,
I think if you go in and you actually watch it at a cinema, and you don't have assholes, you know, crackling their treats that they brought in, or texting on their phone, or talking on their phone even, and you're just lost in that world and watch it, I think that is that can make a good movie great. Because I've been watching, like, the film that rescued my sort of interest in film, because I was almost like, I think it's already dead in my head. But the film that almost resuscitated was Ex Machina.
Yep.
I went to that film, and you're in there for 2 hours, and you have an experience, and I came out and I was like, wow. I was in that world, and I had an experience. And earlier this year, they had the Coen Brothers' Hail Caesar, which is, I don't normally talk about the Coen Brothers because every film they do is like amazing. So it feels like weird complimenting them. But, you know, those were amazing experiences. But I got Ex Machina on Blu-ray and watched it again. And just didn't, the magic was gone.
Okay, so for that film, being locked into a dark room.
Yeah, because watching at home, I was checking Twitter, I was going to the toilet, you know, because I was just drinking whatever I wanted to drink. It just got disrupted and you just lost focus. And I find that with a lot of films, I try and, you know, watch a film every other night on like Netflix or something, and I just can't get through them.
Yeah.
They're just so the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah, right. I'm the same actually. So, yeah. Right.
Rather than I put the best of on yesterday, just because I'd finished filming.
The night of,
sorry. I finished filming at 10 o'clock last night, and I was like, I got 2 hours before I go to bed, I'll put an episode of the night of, and I end up staying up to 1 and watching 3 episodes in a row. And I was like annoyed that I had to go to sleep.
Wow.
Before I can continue it.
But I wonder what that was then. Like, I wonder why you were so engrossed in that, but you can't get through other films.
I think it's because, like, part of it's you're wondering who the murderer is, and you're like, there's the guy that they set up to be, you assume is innocent, but then there's also, as you start seeing the evidence against him, you start to doubt him. You're like, ooh, and you're just really intrigued about the characters.
Right.
It's the characters that you want to watch, you know.
Is it also the premise? Like, it's something that you haven't, like you were saying before.
It's a dumb, boring plot. It's just the characters that are interesting.
Huh.
It's like a whodunit, like murder thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I haven't seen a feature film where I don't know if the lead protagonist is the murderer or not. I don't think.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Weird.
What have you been watching that's good?
Not much. I haven't enjoyed much lately at all. I'm really like wary of TV shows. Something about I almost started watching Stranger Things, but it didn't really.
Oh yeah, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be great and I'd enjoy it, but it seems like just from really like sort of just pure candy. Like it just looks like it's like the things that people are saying were good about it. Things that people are saying were good about it is like, okay, so it's Steven Spielberg meets Stephen King. Well, I don't know. Do I need to see that? Like I do like those things. Like Stand By Me is like my favorite movie of all time, but to see like a nostalgic version of that, I don't know. It sounds sort of generic.
It is generic, but it's kind of what people like about it. They like the genre, but there's just not much stuff in that genre. It's such a niche genre that is 80s stuff that you liked.
Right.
Because there's nothing that amazing. Again, it's about a combination of the nostalgia for that period plus the characters, and you want to see what happens.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it. How many episodes is it?
It's like 10. I watched it in like one day, I think.
Really?
But it was like it came out on like a really wet day, a Saturday on a really wet day in Perth, and it was just a perfect day to just sit down and just do nothing.
Yeah.
Waiting for the rain to go away, and I watched the whole thing.
That's a lot of time. And like, I'm not saying I'm really good with my time. Like, I watch a lot of stupid shit on YouTube, but I know
I felt terrible afterwards.
I would do the same
it wasn't
thing.
like I would have had to go outside and get wet to actually do something.
You felt terrible because you'd ignored what you had to do.
Because you've just been sitting for 10 hours.
And the fascinating thing about that for me is I hear the backstory about this.
I really enjoy the thing, but you're like, I remember getting to 10 o'clock and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to go walk around the block and get wet just to feel like I'm okay, alive.
Yeah. The thing that's kind of interesting I take from that is I remember reading about the two dudes, the brothers that made that, as they got knocked back from everyone. And I don't know how they finally got in that room with Netflix. But it's just, that's a cool thing to remember is, just because everyone says it's shit doesn't mean it's shit.
Yeah.
And I guess you got to be lucky. And I guess that maybe that's why I like being in LA, because there's a chance that I would meet those people. And one of my ideas.
Absolutely. There's way more chance. You compete against more people, but there's more people wanting stuff.
I think that's true. People get scared, or not scared, but they get put off like, oh, I won't go there because I'll be competing against more people. But I think the opportunities, to me, so far, I feel like they outweigh all that. Like that, the opportunities outweigh the competition.
Yeah.
I did an improv audition for a TV pilot, and I got cast, and the casting director was on set, and she told us that for like 4 of us, she'd seen 1,000 people, and I was playing an American character, and she didn't realize I was American because on my audition tape I did American, etc. And then when she found out that I was Australian, she was like, "Oh shit, don't let the director find out," because she thought the director would freak that I was, supposed to be an American or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely feel at this stage, for me, the chances of your abilities shining through all the competition is better when you're in a place like that.
I think eventually maybe I would go there, but there's too many things that I want to do here that I would just get distracted in LA and just never do them.
Yeah, it's very easy to get distracted because there is so many things, and you can end up spreading yourself.
I have enough trouble trying to do stuff here.
Yeah, but
I always want to go somewhere completely where nobody knows where I am.
Yeah,
who I am. So
is that about just finding your own time to work on your stuff, or is that about not finding enough time to connect with the apparatuses or whatever, like the Screen West, or pitch to them, or put together the pitch or whatever, or like...
I just want to get all my ideas out on paper.
So just write everything and then not even think about how to get them to the next level of being produced.
Yeah, and then come back and then start to think again about how to actually make them producible. It's my alarm to go back to work.
All right.
But yeah, I just find like, I normally work best late at night when no one's emailing you about something or ringing you about something or
Yeah, I'm the same.
asking you to do chores or giving you a lift to the airport or...
Yep.
And if you were in a place where, if I was in like Darwin or something, I wouldn't go to Darwin's too hot. Maybe Tasmania or something, where they're like, well, no one's going to ring me up to ask me about something there because they're like, oh, he's in Tasmania.
Yeah.
Or Canada or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes.
Because even though I don't get asked much at all, it just weighs on my mind. I'm hoping I got a week. I finished this filming and I'm going to take the rest of the year off. I'm not going to even look at... I'm going to download the footage, but I'm not going to actually start editing till next year. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try and get some writing done so that I feel good at New Year's Eve and say, oh yeah, I got a good amount of writing done this year. But then I've got Christmas next week. I got to go Christmas shopping. I got to go get all my things tied up so I can take... I got a few days off around Christmas, so I got to get everything sorted so I can take those days off. And I got family coming in for Christmas, and
I'm the same. Like I hate the idea of having a New Year's Eve where I feel bummed out. I didn't get half of the things I wanted to do done.
Yeah.
That's why I shot most of that video just like in the last week or whatever. And even though it wasn't ready, and my producer was in India, and I had to do it myself, and I just couldn't bear the idea of not getting that one thing at least started.
It looks good though.
Thanks, man.
I'm interested to see where it goes.
So just finally, in terms of like, I kind of said what I like about LA, and you kind of did tell me already how this Perth scene's changing or what things are there to help people like yourself or creative people like me or whatever. Is it getting stronger or whatever? Or help nurture you?
I think so.
Yeah.
When I went to Melbourne, again, I had a meeting with the ABC and they said they want to make stuff in Perth. It's whether you can make something that's bankable. Like, she was like, the idea I was pitching to her is like, you would need to get someone like Kate Blanchett or something attached, a name,
right.
Or whoever the TV people, like Asher Keddy attached. You would have to get a name attached.
And then they would jump on board and help
for them to take it seriously.
Everyone needs someone else to already be taking it seriously before they can take it seriously.
But they want to make it in Perth. But you might need an Eastern States people to help make that happen.
Okay. But generally the scene here, the Festival of Perth, and people are doing stuff.
Yeah, but it's what you make of it. It's not going to be served up on a plate.
And like, you said before that, you like time to yourself a lot. Do you get stuff out of other creative people that you talk to and whatever and share ideas with or whatever and talk about what you're doing?
There's not a lot of people I know that I sort of connect to because a lot of people in the film industry are interested in making films. I'm only interested in creating films, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh. I think so, like the writing. You're saying in a perfect world you would just be a writer.
Well, I wouldn't ever direct something that I hadn't written.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever be a cinematographer on something that...
Uh-huh.
Like, there's a lot of people who just want to make films. And I go to film networks, and it's a lot of those people, which is nothing wrong, but they might want to create their own films as well, but they also want to make other films because they want to get a job in the film industry rather than... My primary job is being a writer, and it's not really a job because they don't make any money.
But do you feel like you...
I wonder what happens if something that I've written takes off. I get an offer to like go write on a TV show in Melbourne. Would I take that up? I would have to, just to be an independent person, right? But would I enjoy it? Writing someone else's stuff? I don't know.
It would definitely have a good thing on your CV to open other doors, and you could save some money and work on your own shit.
But also, if you go over there and realise I can't write other people's stuff, then it looks bad on your CV when you get kicked off the project.
I don't think it would. It could
You
not
just
hurt.
burn out.
It
You
could not
burn out
hurt.
for
Even
next-
if you were there for one season or half a season or even one day, it could not hurt when you're doing a grant application to say I wrote on
Maybe. Yeah.
Farmer's Daughter or whatever it's called.
But if it's a small country, like if word spreads.
Yeah. But like, what about that? You know, like, I've been acting in a few things, and like, yeah, I guess I kind of connected to the people who are making them, and yeah, and then since then we've sort of shared knowledge a bit, and I've asked them questions about directing, or they've given me tips, or that's something I sort of like, and something I'm trying to. It's not that I'm trying to do it. I just like the people that I've, like, even yourself. Like when we made that film, I thought it was really cool that you did this, and I respected it. And I guess coming in as an act, there's a few times, including like with you and a few other people when I've been in LA, like, yeah, it can be a cool thing to like, create that sort of co-working thing. I don't know, but because you would never. I mean, yeah. Do you ever like help anyone else with their ideas?
I try to say no.
Yeah. It's a
Because
fine line. It's a fine line.
Because you just get distracted from your own stuff.
Right.
Um,
But maybe if the caliber.
I used to a lot. I used to do that a lot, but now
Did you find that the people you were helping weren't actually able to, really benefit you in any way? You just end up being their workhorse.
yeah. I mean, I guess sometimes you do a favor, and they do a favor back for you and stuff like that. Like I did feel this year a bit disconnected from the Perth film crew, so I volunteered on like a student film, and just as a runner, and they turned up and they were like, "Oh, we don't have a sound guy," so I had to be the sound guy, and they. For someone who weren't that organised to have a sound guy, they had this really complicated setup where everything was done in one shot and there's people talking around the room. So I'm trying to like boom. I've never, I'm not a sound guy, and I'm trying to like do this insane thing where you're recording this as person's voice and then over there because they're twisting the camera around like it's a mockumentary thing. It's like a mockumentary where there's one camera trying to capture everything. And I was just like, what the hell have I done?
Yeah, I guess.
And then if I screw up the sound, they look at me angry as like, well, you're the sound guy. I'm like, no, I just turned up to be a runner to literally just, carry things from one room to the other.
Right.
I just got put into this thing.
Yeah, I guess we all have those bad picks where you get laboured with something that's just a nightmare. I don't know. Maybe.
And then the problem was that is then people think I'm the sound guy. So then the one person I met through that, it was cool that I thought, oh, we might collaborate on something. She was the art designer. She got in touch with me to say, oh, can you do sound on this film I'm working on? And I couldn't do it. I didn't have time. And so I said no. And now, of course, she doesn't speak to me because I'm like, I've let her down because she said, she obviously told a friend that, oh, I know this guy I can get in to do sound.
Oh, no.
So it actually backfired where I've actually...
Oh, shit. You've actually burnt bridges. Oh, see, maybe that's what I'm
just
liking about LA.
Just by trying to be nice.
Yeah, you're just trying to be nice. That's crazy. That sucks. And I've had those experiences before when I was...
I don't think she's a bad person, but she just assumed that I was the sound guy because when I turned up, I was the sound guy.
Yeah, no, I think that's a bit of a problem with the smaller pond. Because I remember doing some stuff when I was first doing acting in Sydney, and yeah, it was more of a shit fight than anything beneficial. Anyway, so the good things about WA maybe is you can find
the only good thing about it is you're less likely to get shot here, really. And it's not Melbourne, which has it's just a terrible city that happens to have all this awesome stuff there.
It's terrible because it hasn't got a beach, or it's terrible because it's got shit weather?
Yeah, crap weather and 4 million people in the same space as Perth has 2 million people. It's just not... It has advantage where they can get more suckers in so they can probably put on more shows, but...
Yeah. Shit. Well, I feel like... Okay, so WA is good. You won't get shot. I feel like LA's been good to me so far. I'm waiting for
I'm waiting for you to get shot because most people I know who've gone to LA have at least witnessed one gun crime.
Dude, I've been there almost 2 years. I've never heard anything like that.
I hope you're tapping wood right now.
No, it's not like that at all. I can't believe that's what you've heard. But yeah, no, I feel like some hardship will hit me soon. Like I'll just be lonely or something eventually.
Do you have insurance? Health insurance?
No.
So if you get sick and you get this $100,000 bill.
Actually, I've got Obamacare and it's fucking great. If Trump doesn't change it, I'm sweet. It's been amazing. It's actually been better than Australia. Yeah,
but that's the problem. Trump's that's his first job, is to get rid of Obamacare.
All right. Well, I knew that. I feel like, there'll be some bottoming out soon. Where I'll suddenly realise what's so good about
Go for your dreams. Don't be a pussy like me. It's just like, got this cushy life in Perth until I'm going to get kicked out eventually.
All right. Here's to 2017. We'll both bottom out eventually.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Justin, and updating us.
Thanks, man.
Where do you find you on the internet? Like, if you're going to put this video out, where's it going to be?
It will be...
How do people listening to this find you?
Through my alter ego. It'll be onesfreely.com.
All right. Not on Facebook?
Well, you can find the Facebook through onesfreely.com.
Okay.
There'll be a Facebook.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, bro.
All right. Bye.